Hey, thank you for watching. Join us on the Real Estate Roundup. Today I am here with Carrie. Carrie is a private money broker, and she does small money moves with self-directed accounts. Carrie,
Absolutely.
Carrie, can you tell us about what?
Sure. So, a lot of people who have self-directed accounts don't realize how easy it is to actually move money around and do debt payments without having a ton of paperwork. It's actually quite simple dealing in private debt with your self-directed IRAs. Have you ever done any?
I haven't done any. So private debt, so it's not secured by anything, but it's to a business? Is that what it is?
It can actually be secured or unsecured, and it could be to an individual or a business.
Oh, even to an individual?
Even to individuals. You do not have to have a business-specific investment.
But it still couldn't be to family that's illegal with a forbidden transaction, right?
Exactly. The only people you can't lend to are those that are prohibited transactions with the IRS. So that's your family members, typically direct ascendants or descendants.
So how about
brothers,
siblings?
sisters?
So
Yeah, I believe siblings are out. I am not a IRS, all-knowing IRS person. Please double check with your accountant. But no, so the IRS will define who you can and can't. But in general, money movement with individuals is allowed, especially when you start working with groups that may have needs for money that can't go a traditional route or even a private money brokering way. So, for example, some small businesses or individuals who are starting small businesses may need some money to maybe do some marketing, or maybe they need just some working capital. And you can lend out of your self-directed accounts to these folks.
Nice. I know you're doing these type of deals and whatnot. What has been the funnest one you've done so far?
I don't know about the funnest, but there's one that was more impactful to me than some of the others. One of my early loans was to someone who was facing foreclosure. And her foreclosure was on a secondary lien. So for those of you that are not in real estate, when you go and you actually get a mortgage, when you buy your house, that's the primary mortgage, primary lien. If for some reason you take out either another loan, there's a secondary lien that's placed on your house. Doesn't have to be a large amount. In this case, it was a few tens of thousands of dollars compared to the almost $300,000 for her primary. But the gentleman, it was with an individual, and there were some issues that were going on, and he tried to foreclose on her. And after knowing her, and I've known her for a little while, I was like, this just isn't, and I didn't believe it was right or fair what the guy was doing. And I wanted to be able to help her. So I was like, I've got that amount. I would love to be able to use it for something meaningful. And so I was able to do a private note to her and pay off that secondary lien. And she is now in the process of paying me back for that on good terms and everything, but she didn't lose a house because of about a $30,000 deal. So impact almost more so for me than fun is what I look for.
Nice. So I like that. So you got to impact her and help her keep her house. So you got to make an impact. And you're making money?
And I'm making money.
So you make a profit and you help people.
Absolutely.
Wow. Nice. How hard is it to do these type of loans?
So with your self-directed IRAs, if it is a promissory note, which most private debt is, then you actually have a note. Those are easy to find or have drafted. Promissory notes can also be secured or unsecured. Secured does add a little bit layer of difficulty because you have to show that whatever is collateralizing it. But Otherwise, with the IRA groups that I've worked with, it's a promissory note. And if you're lending to a business, their operating agreement, and a basic form gets filled out for that IRA group, and you're off to the races.
Oh, sweet. So, collateralized, could it be car, truck, house, chattel, anything?
Anything. Promissory notes are very generic. And so and they always can be customized. So that's the thing that I always, if someone is looking to do notes and lending, you are creating the deal. You're the ones that are setting the rules. There are some basic rules that your IRA fund may have about verifying a few things, but when it comes to what you're going to collateralize, how much you're going to loan, what your interest rate's going to be, all the terms of repayment, all of that is customizable on everyone.
Nice. So I'm doing some stuff with tiny homes, and so since they're not permanent fixtures or permanently on a foundation and whatnot, I could use them as collateral then.
Anything that the counterparty thinks is collateral and is safe and comfortable with knowing that they would be able to get their money back in case you defaulted is absolutely acceptable.
Nice. And of course, the reason somebody would probably want the secured over just the promissory note is the chances of being repaid, and then the chances of even making more if you had to repo something or something, right?
Absolutely. When you have to do any collateral, it is a layer of safety for whoever is lending you their money. However, you're right. If there does come to default, there's a lot that they have to go through most of the time to get that back. Unsecured, though, it's even more so because all you can do is go after the individual themselves. What I suggest is whenever you're deciding if you want to lend with your IRA money, always evaluate all aspects of the deal. You're not just looking at what or who you're dealing with, but what are they going to do with the money? Have they done it in the past? Are they new at what they're doing? There's a lot of things to look at, and you have to take all of it into consideration and be comfortable with that person, deal, opportunity, everything before you do that. Because you are talking about your hard-earned money that you had to get into those IRA accounts. And it's not so easy as just dropping some more in whenever you want to, right? So you got to be comfortable with these notes and that you're going to get the money back.
Carrie, I would think that you would want to build solid relationships with the people that you're going to be loaning money with. Is that a good aspect of it, or do you think just anybody that comes along would be a good?
If you're lending to anybody who comes along, I need about $1 million over here, just trying it on my way. No, I think relationships are really key. It doesn't have to be a close relationship, but you have to be very comfortable and know that person's level of character and integrity. Again, you're taking your hard-earned money and putting it in somebody else's hands. And, I mean, how often would you walk down a street and give a stranger money?
So relationships are definitely key, and then even with the relationship, even if it's a close friend, you would want to do your due diligence. So a mentor of mine says, basically, I would verify my grandmother, so I'm going to do my due diligence no matter what. So
I think so. It really is. You have to have relationships. You have to have due diligence. The best of people can fall on the hardest of times, and things can shift and change. But to me, the relationships that you build not only help ensure that your money is safe with who you're investing with, but it also lets you get through some of those trickier times. I've had money that I've placed out with an individual who hit one of those harder times. And instead of just saying, okay, I'm going to come after you for everything and how, pay all this interest, I talked to her And we had a conversation about, why she was late getting me paid back, why the situation had changed, how it had changed. And after our conversation, we were able to say, okay, we came to an agreement and we modified our promissory note.
Nice. So you can modify them after they've been done. Sweet. So on an instance like that, what would you say when you're lending out your money? What would be the top qualities that you would want from your borrower? Would you want regular communication or at least a communication style that you set up with them? Or?
Absolutely. Anybody who is not willing to communicate freely about the money, the investment that it's going into, or why a payment's coming in late, you want to be able to have those conversations. And sometimes they're not easy conversations. People by default typically don't like talking about money, right? But what it is you're able to say, okay, listen, this is about money. This is about what we've agreed to. Let's just talk out what's going on. And you don't have to always be super forceful, because that's the thing. With me, it's like, I understand that day to day things can change. Things can shift. The market can turn. Not that it has ever in the last, year or anything. But things happen. And we're all human, and it happens to the best of us. So being able to have those conversations. So to me, communication is one of the key things. And I've had people that are a little worried about being open and honest about something that may be perceived as a negative situation. But as long as you're willing to talk about it and figure out what can be done, it doesn't have to be negative. You can always work it out.
Sweet. I was talking to an individual this morning, and the way I thought about it on the communication is, there's going to be problems with something. I mean, life is full of them. So when you have that problem, reaching out and talking to your lender, their brain thinks different than yours. And literally, they may have the answer that you're trying to come up with, and by not talking to them, they can't help you with your problem. Is that an avenue that you would encourage?
Absolutely. One person can be much more creative than the other, and two brains are always smarter than one. So many times, I think, and not just in finance or anything, people think that what they know and what they think is everything that's possible. And that's usually never the case. So being able to talk it out, bring a different viewpoint in, see what can be done. I know personally I have learned so much over the past year that I didn't know could be possible, right? I had no clue about self-directed for a long time. And then as soon as people say, did you know that you can do that and it's safer than the market and everything? And I'm like, well, anything's safer than the market these days. It has opened up a whole new world to me. And I think that's the thing, is we have to keep our minds open. We don't know everything, and it's great to work together with others and share inspiration of the art of possible.
Nice. I like that, the creativeness and whatnot that people can come up with. And I actually knew about self-directed accounts in 1998. I learned about them, and I knew I was pretty sure I didn't have the friends to move money with. I didn't know of any. So Andrew shined the light on the community that we are in, shined the light on making financial friends. And so how important are making financial friends to you?
Absolutely critical. Making financial friends that can help you move forward in your wealth journey it's the strongest thing that you can do, because you can only go so far with your own funds. When you can start leveraging OPM, other people's money, it opens up so many more opportunities to grow your wealth. And it's key. I say everybody, certain people in the world say debt's bad. Owing somebody is bad, right? And it's not. That's what it takes to unlock the bigger deals. And it's not that you're using other people's money and they're not making any money from it. You both make money from it, right? So financial friends are very valuable. They allow you to unlock the power of other people's money. And when you can leverage other people's money, you can make your wealth faster. And you're helping them make wealth faster as well. And you can actually find financial friends in a lot more places than you ever think you could. So, like you said, you didn't realize, that, where do you go and you find financial friends? You really have to think about people that you already know could be a financial friend that you never knew was available. When I started down this journey of working with private money, I started talking to people about it. And the next thing I know, I'm talking with people that I have known for 15 years, but I didn't know that they're going and doing investing, that they're going and looking for private leverage. They're looking for all these different things. And I had never, ever considered them a potential financial friend because they were an acquaintance. Some of them were vendors when I was in the corporate world. No clue. But when you start talking about it and you're willing to be open about money and finances.
The taboo money?
Money. You have to talk about
wow.
it. It's fabulous. And it actually gets fun to say. Because then it's not just money, you can't talk about it, or it's disappearing. It's, hey, I'm making my money grow.
Nice. So I come up with the saying, and I just got to throw this in there, but I thought it was genius, and it's I help people make their money act like family and bring home money babies.
Nice. I like money babies. That would be wonderful.
Nice. I do too. And so you said a few minutes ago talking about debt and being good and bad. And so I look at debt as if you're using other people's money and going into debt with it for stuff you want, that is bad debt. Good debt is, of course, how would you define good debt?
I think I was going down the same path as you. Good debt is any time that you can take that money and make it grow more money. You have to have some sort of benefit that's moving you forward. It's not, hey, now I've got a cool, fast car, because how does that help you? It only takes your money, right? You got to find the things that help you grow your money, keep your money, protect your money. All of that. Because bad debt, so the consumerism that we have out there about, hey, I just need the bigger house, the faster car, the cooler clothes, that doesn't make you any money. You have to be building up for growth and not just spending.
Nice. I like how you threw that asset in there. So when you say asset, there's a difference between an asset and a liability. What's your definition of asset and liability?
Well, I've had people argue with me about my definition of asset and liability. But for me, an asset is anything that makes you money. Okay? A liability is anything that takes your money. So most people in general will agree with that, but then when you start talking specifics, we start having differing opinions.
You mean like your house as an asset?
Like your house is an asset. My lovely father-in-law, if you see this, I'm sorry, was an accountant for many, many years, and his house is paid off. And so when I started talking about what I was learning and what I believe about money, I said that, your home that you're living in is not an asset. And he goes, well, of course it is. It's paid off. I don't have mortgage payments on it. And I'm like, so you're not paying on it, but how is it making you money? And he's like, well, it's saving me money. I don't have to make payments on it. I'm like, are you? I said, what are your taxes? And what about the electricity and all the other things? I said, so if you took your house and all you had was your house, how would you be able to pay for anything? I said, you're still paying into it. It's not paying you anything. Now you take a house where you're renting it, it's bringing you in income. That's an asset.
Sweet. So your house you live in is a liability, and a rental house, so it's still a house, but it's what you're doing with the house, right?
Absolutely. Anything that can make you money can be an asset.
Nice.
If you have a car and it's your nice little Lamborghini, let's say you've got the money, you're out there driving that Lamborghini and it's just your personal driver, it's a liability. If you're out there doing churro with it, and renting it out and making money on it, all of a sudden it's now an asset.
Nice. Makes me want to buy another Lamborghini here.
Another Lamborghini,
yeah,
Jody?
yeah. I'm already there, y'all.
Oh, my goodness.
I wish.
But yeah, exact same item can be one or the other, depending on how it's being used.
Nice. And so let's circle around back to the private money brokering. So how do you help people as far as with your private money brokering business?
Sure. So private money brokering is we're actually working with real estate investors, find money to acquire additional assets. So a lot of times people only know about going to the bank to get a loan for a house. And banks are very driven on you and your income, and everything that they're looking at to loan money is you proper. With private money brokering, we're working with institutions and individuals that lend money more on assets that are being purchased than the income of the investors themselves. So we're able to shop different private money lenders for programs that fit specific properties and investors and what their style and what they're looking at doing. And you don't have to, have the blood type of your kids and everything else on the application. Basic things like FICO still play, your experience, how many investments that you've done plays in, but most of it ties to the actual asset that you're looking at to buy, whether it's a rental home, whether it's a small multifamily, whatever it may be. The asset itself is what private money lenders look at more so than the individual themselves.
Sweet. And so if I was a brand new investor, didn't have any houses or anything, and I'm trying to do my first investment, what would you say would be a good way to be able to qualify to use private money?
So depending on what you're looking to do, fix and flips don't have to have quite as much experience than if you're going to do a buy and hold on a rental. Different lenders have different requirements. Some people will let you come in brand new with no experience, but you're going to pay more for the money. The more experience you have, the better your credit, the more proof you can show of your success as an investor, the cheaper the money and the easier it comes. So as a new investor, I would say one of two things. Either work with a private money broker who can help you find some of the lenders that are more open to with people that are just starting out. You could also partner up with someone who already has some experience. And when you're doing that, you have to make sure you're actually part of the money of the deal. So there are a lot of people who are typically like general contractors that say, well, hey, I flipped the house. Technically, I went and did all the work, but if you weren't on the title of the house, it doesn't count when it comes to the money side of things. But you could partner with someone, and then once you're both on there, or an LLC that you're both in, then you start getting that experience. And it doesn't take very much experience to start seeing those rates get better for you.
Nice. And so, Carrie, can you give us the way to contact you and stuff? So it's somebody that's wanting to become an investor or an investor wanting to use you. Can you give us your contact information and how you would want them to reach out to you?
So you can always reach out to me through a contact form I have on my website. The company name and the website name is acsbcapital.com. And my phone number's there. Feel free to reach out. I also have Insta and Facebook that we're just now getting set up. So we'd love to have you be one of our initial followers.
Nice. Thank you, Carrie. Y'all have a great day.
All right. Happy investing.